We're looking right down over the telescope down the edge to the water, 270 miles away.
And we have got an unbelievable picture from the elbow camera right now.
You can see the entire continent of Australia from here. The whole thing.
So I'm not coming from a bunch of books, I read the books too. But I'm going to give you a bunch of scenarios, you know, that I actually lived. And from each of those scenarios, I'm going to tease out the principle. I'm going to tease out the lessons that I learned all the way and what I can apply, what you can apply to yourselves and to your company. So the individual and the company, they go together in terms of the new frontiers, in terms of pushing forward, how you reinvent yourself, new business models, new products, and all the rest of that. So I got Austin, Mike, and Nick in the back corner. You've probably not been introduced before. That's lesson number one I got for you. Without those people, I'm dead. I'm dead. Okay, you got the lesson? So the people are looking after you. You're riding on their shoulders and they're taking forward you and they're helping get the job done. So away we go. I thank you so much, Thermal Resources, for your faith in me and for putting me on this playing field to meet the world's expectations. But we are Farm Kid to Rocket Man, and what we go after the space program. The important thing is one little step at a time. And that's what's so encouraging. It's massively encouraging for young kids to see what I've done. Not the final product, because the final product you can't deal with, but I can do it. He didn't. It's one little step. It's just one little step at a time. Build up who I am. What am I going to do tomorrow? So right off the bat, the Northrop T-38, that's the flight proficiency airplane NASA gave me. Why did he give me an airplane? Just so I can demonstrate I'm sharp. Skills, aerospace procedures, discipline, checklist, bang, bang, bang. That airplane then is a playing field for me. Me and that airplane, what are we going to do in life? How we go forward? How can I be good meeting the world's expectations? So, that is the posture of exploration. Don't forget that one now. Every single slide I give you has got some lesson in it. That's curiosity, awe, and wonder. So whatever you do, you drop a 3-year-old and they're in the game. They're everywhere, all over that. Give it to me, baby, give it to me. I want the world to give it to me. But I'm going to explore my total environment. So wherever you are, that's what you do. Explore your total environment. Curiosity, awe, wonder. And so that is me 77 years ago. 77 years ago, I'm 80, that's 77 years ago, exploring my world. Born and raised on a farm, 500 acres. So I stretched my mother on how far out I can go as a 3-year-old. How far, how many hours I can be gone, she won't worry. I stretched it into the night too. So at 3 years, I'm in the pine forest at night, and it's okay. Nothing can hurt you in the pine forest, absolutely nothing. Forest look after you, so that's okay. But curiosity, awe, and wonder, and exploration, that's where it starts, folks. That's where it starts. What do we got here? So it's exploration. So I was an explorer at a very, very young age, and you know where that's going to end up going. So I was born and raised on a dairy farm, western Massachusetts. It's 80 head of Guernsey cows. And so we got a baler in 1943. You know, a lot of you have lived this world. So that's a rectangular bale come out the back end, you think. But in 1943, the baler doesn't tie the knots. You know, tying twine knots is difficult. That's a difficult thing to do in 1943. So they tried to get the baler to tie the knots, and it would not. But you know how creative you are on a farm. They got an 8-year-old, and they stick the 8-year-old right there. The baler don't tie the knots, the kids are going to. That's why I got real serious. At 8, I got real serious on the farm. Now, what I'm going to do on that farm. So I pulled the twine like that without interfering with the machine. So I had access, needle nose pliers, square knot. Get my hands out of there before the next cycle would have taken them off. OSHA not like I'm part of this little business with 8-year-old, but there is no OSHA. So, okay, who is Story Musgrave? So, yes, I got 8 graduate degrees, 20 honors. That's not who this person is you're looking at. I'm a product of child labor and a teenage Marine. That's who I am. I never forgot it. That's who I am. I never forgot that kind of stuff. So, I drove every tractor and truck on the place. We got any farm people in the crowd? Of course we do. We got the red people. Don't you worry, I got green too. But, and I'll confess I have orange. So, okay. I drove every tractor and truck on the place at the farm all in at the age of 9. I also did it on the highway. Going down the highway, 5 tons of hay behind me, and the state police can't see ahead. They can't see ahead in the truck. Truck going down the road by itself. So they got to stop that truck, find out what driving it. Open the door. Young man, you can't be 16. I'm 12, sir. You know what the state police do? They say, be careful, son, and they leave. Because they know it's going to come out right. They know that kid, it's going to come out right, and they also know they have to have the kid or the farm going under. You've got to have child labor, the farm going under. Well, despite my efforts, the farm went under anyway. So, are we going to have fun today? We're going to have outrageous fun. But you are going to learn. It's one little step at a time. Something happens, the door opens, and where do you go next? I saw they're building the Massachusetts Turnpike. So I became an oiler for heavy equipment. Now, an oiler, you just attack every single grease fitting. You all do this. This is your world. It's so fun to talk with you because, you know, we're all the same kind of people, what you do. But you just attack every grease fitting and every oil. So you put the oil in the grease. That's all, 4 a.m. in the morning, heavy equipment. But I'm a farm kid, so I advance very fast. And so I'd have been CEO of this company if I stayed long enough. So I'm getting into more serious maintenance. So a little bit of this stuff here, too, as a 16-year-old. But my lesson for you today is, you look at the hand and the ratchet wrench. My lesson for you is 40 years later, that hand and a ratchet wrench is 400 miles in the air fixing the Hubble Space Telescope, your lead mechanic. Now that's how life happens. And they chose me to do that, not because of graduate degrees, it's because I got raised in this world here. Mechanics as a kid. But I never finished school. I do not have a high school diploma. The graduate degrees are fine. I don't have a high school diploma yet. I guess it's not over until it's over. I'm very glad that NASA, in their sophisticated educational requirements, never asked if I had a high school diploma, or I wouldn't be here in Charlotte today. But bus picked me up at the barn, left me at the barn. I had no homework, no anything, so I never finished that. And we finished the Mass Turnpike, so I'm without a job, and I'm without a diploma, so I'm kind of stuck. So I joined the U.S. Marine Corps at the age of 17. I tried to join at 16. I lied about my age, but it caught up with me, and they weren't very happy about that. They sent me home, but they said come back in a year. So I did. So I joined the Marines. First thing you do when you join the Marines, you get a dog tag. You know what the dog tags are for? So that we will know who you are when you can't tell us. That's what I just, whoa, what kind of outfit is this I'm in? Anyway, and so I do not celebrate war. It's a species problem. We just got to get over that and establish a nice peaceful community here on our home Mother Earth. But what I do celebrate is the military spirit. The military spirit, the number one thing is get that job done. It's the spirit of get the job done at all costs. So I appreciate that military spirit. I appreciate the training, the discipline, the technology, the education. I go forward and get the job done. So you're going to see some very primitive stuff. Now this is me in Korea, K6 Korea. So you see it's all manual stuff. It's just this AD Skyraider. So this kind of stuff, that's our 20 millimeter cannons. We're incredibly inaccurate because you had these switches. You just drop the bombs off. You just drop them off. They fall off of the airplane. There's no guided anything in this world. So whatever the trajectory you had of the airplane, you drop the bomb off, and you're trying to judge where the bomb's going to go. So we were not effective until we got into the vertical. The vertical means absolutely straight down. It's easy to judge a vertical because that's where you're going to hit if you keep doing what you're doing. You know, so, and there's other ways too. But we got very accurate then. We just dropped the bombs right into the enemy. See, but also, you know, we found out, you see the speed brake slowing us down. And so when we first started this, we were catching up with our own bombs. When your propeller is eating on your own bombs, that's a bad day. I mean, that's just so, you need to have that kind of drag. Anyway, we got accurate then. Now that's a motor I'm looking after. That's R3350. It's a 3,000 horsepower, very, very compound engine. 500 of those horsepower comes from exhaust turbines. And I did heavy maintenance on that thing. I did heavy maintenance on a big motor, and I love that motor. I've worked on it recently. I don't know anything. It's bad how inefficient I've gotten lately. I'm working on that motor. But that is my motor. I did heavy stuff on that motor. But I progressed very fast in the Marine Corps for 3 reasons. I'm massively creative as a farm kid in what is wrong with this machine. You hang on to it, you listen to the vibes, and you got it. And so I was very good at what's wrong. I was incredibly creative on what I got to do to fix that thing, but never creative when I touch that machine. When you touch it, that's exactly the way they taught you or the book. You cannot be creative on what you do to the machine. That's engineering, it's pedigree of process, it's test, it's history, it's what's worked. There's only one thing. So the 2 things, my creativity, but my incredible discipline, that propelled me fast in the Marines. So I became a crew chief. A crew chief, I had my own airplane. I owned that airplane. The pilot borrows it from me, but I own it. I sleep with it and I live it. I coordinate other people's maintenance, and I'm the one that goes to head shed, and green check mark, airplane is airworthy. And before I leave, I sign off 125 items that says they meet specification, and this airplane can go to war. So I'm signing off military airplanes to go to war and certifying airworthiness with 1 stripe and at the age of 18. You know what an 18-year-old is? That's what I'm doing. Unbelievable. Pilots look at me and say, my goodness, they're getting younger all the time. Now, so I worked on a motor on a C-119 too. That's my flight line in Korea. So it's the mud to muck. I did not have a hangar. So I have to do it right with a complicated machine in an environment like this, the mud, the muck, and the snow, and using the kind of stands and that kind of stuff too. So that's the flight line. This is the runway. So we had no runways. You know, the bulldozer just smoothed it out. We laid down a matting. You lay down a matting like that, and that's the runway. But you see the toughness. You see the emaciation of those people. They're just burning up more calories than they can eat. So that's what life's all about. Then that's a picture I used to carry in my pocket. I got different pictures. I carry a picture in my pocket. You know, when I run into a high maintenance person, do you know what a high maintenance person is? There's none of you here. There's no high maintenance here. But high maintenance man, I'll pull that picture out and say, get over it. You could be here, right? So anyway, but I went back to Korea. I went back there years and years later, and I ran into this runway again. They use it for all kinds of things back there. It is really tough stuff. So, well, I left K6 Korea and headed for the carrier that's going by Mount Fuji there. And I went on board the carrier USS Wasp in the Pacific. That's my airplane, it's my motor. I don't have a dynamometer. I just got to do it right. So I got to do it right. So it's going to serve that pilot. That's my pilot, it's my airplane. Away you go. And so this before the days of the catapult. And the Wasp is very late to get the upgrade. Now, if you don't get enough, here's where you go. You go in the water. And so my older brother, he was on the same carrier with the same 80 Skyraider. He went in the water, but the carrier ran over him. So I lost my brother doing the same thing that I was doing. That's what life is all about. So that's Kaneohe Bay, the windward side of the island. BMA 212 was right there. But without high school, I can't go anywhere. So I left the Marine Corps. Maybe I'm going to come back, but I left the Marine Corps to get some education. And so I mustered out here at Treasure Island. That's the Oakland Bay Bridge right there. And so I'm trying to get into college. None of the places will take me. Of course they won't take me. But I showed up anyway. You're knock on the dean's door and you come in. Hey, I filled out all the paperwork. And I know someone didn't show up. There's an empty bed in the dorm. There's an empty seat in the classroom. I'm here to help you out. I mean, I'll take it. So here I am, ready to go to work. First 2 places turned me down. But Syracuse University took me. They opened that door. So here you go. See, it's opportunity. The door opened for me. Give me the opportunity. Syracuse said, we have to take this kid. Of course we have to take him. He's here. Look at this kid. He determined he wanted to do it. He's creative. He wants to go forward. Well, my younger brother, he never finished school either. He went off to the Marines at 17. He came out of the Marines not knowing where to go. I said, hey, try Syracuse. So he went to Syracuse. Hey, come on, baby. We know how that works out. So I got a 28-year-old, too. He did unbelievably stupid things in May. Stupid things in May. He got thrown out of high school. And so I said, Dad, my goodness, I can't. I got no place to go. And I said, try Syracuse. He went to Syracuse. Come on, baby, We're doing this a third time, so I suppose little story mess up somehow, and she'll end up here, too. That is a horrible kind of slide, but it's not that bad. So that's herding cats. So you see, I got into this kind of mathematics backwards. I've had to survive. I've had to survive the Baylor and all the rest of the stuff. I had to survive the Marines. I've had to survive in this world. And what I learned along the way is I got to look at every little variable. And this is stupid old systems engineering, systems design. You enter that playing field you're going to enter, and you have to look at every possible little detail that's going to affect your outcome. And that's it. Whatever you do in life, it is within a system, as you well know. You have to deal with every possible little variable. Well, so I came to the university thinking, man, I got to deal with everything. So I got into multivariate statistics and multivariate calculus, the back door. I said, my goodness, there's a way to quantitate these things. But anyway, I've thought this way my whole life now. From this point on, I deal with all the variables I got to deal with. Well, I like the university. I like university lifetime, but I miss the Marines. I miss the Marines to get the job done. I miss that kind of spirit, so I joined the active reserve at Syracuse. They didn't have any airplanes for me, but I drove tanks. I would drive absolutely everything. Just give it to me, I'll drive it. And so that's what I did. I drive tanks. And I also fix tanks. When my tank broke, I had to fix before they fill out the paperwork. So I did that too. Now, the tank won't fly, so that's no fun. I'm 20 years old, and I got an 810 horsepower V12. You don't think that's okay? Who doesn't want an 810 horsepower V12? That's the good news. The bad news is the motor is inside with you, as is the fuel tank. So if things go bad inside, it's a bad day. And that's the other thing I drove going. Sunshine, fresh air, get some exercise. You see how it goes? The farm kid machine is just machine. I just drive this kind of stuff. But it paid for a lot of school, and you see, it paid for a lot of stuff. The other thing I drove going to college was this thing right here. So yes, you're supposed to like my tank better, sir. I'm making so much money going to school, that I got to spend it on something. And so what's story Musgrave? What's this kid going to spend money on? If you give him a pile of it, you're going to spend it on 58 Corvette. I just lucked out because we're 58 then. What's all this money stuff? Remember the hay bales? Stupid hay bales, man. I not only tied the knots, but I threw them. When I got to be 50 pounds, I'm heaving a 50-pound bale in a wagon. And hay's, it's sharp. It eats your clothes, eats your skin. You got blood, pus, urine. It's a horrible mess that you get into. I said, man, that's not going anywhere. A freshman in high school, I took up wrestling. The rest of the freshmen take up weightlifting to get strong. They can't catch me. I'm 5 years ahead of them. I'm a product of child labor, man, heaving bales forever. I'm undefeated for 4 years. You see how life goes now? You said, hey, bales ain't going nowhere. Okay, Syracuse, freshman. They got a wrestling team here. I'll join the wrestling team. Made the varsity right away, freshman year. And they had spare scholarship. So the university paying for everything. Wrestling scholarship, room, board, and tuition. They pay for the whole thing. But don't forget the Marines and the GI Bill. They paid for everything too, and they don't talk at each other. Hey, folks, the frontier, we're going forward, right? You're getting some lessons here? The tanks are paying for everything. The bulldozers are paying for everybody. I'm making so much money. Okay, there you go. I got to do that. With that money, I took up flying too. Just because I like to fly. That's a Beechcraft T-34A in its current color, 70 years old. I did soaring, sailplanes. I did air shows too. I'm going to make this flying pay for itself. Air shows rough on you. It's rough on the discipline. It's tough on your body. It's tough on your mind. But there's only one kind of air show I do. That's a checklist on your leg. Yeah. Yes, sir. I don't do the Paris Air Show. I don't do the Paris Air Show. They've wrecked everything ever went to the Paris Air Show. Supersonic transport, F-18s, Airbuses. They've wrecked every airplane they ever brought there. The pilot jumps in the airplane and got to demonstrate it to the customer, so they wreck it. Well, I don't know how that sells the airplane to the customer, by wrecking the airplane, but that's what they do. But it's not what I do. So I've been raised with discipline. So it's a checklist right here, and it's the only thing I ever do at air show. Diagram of the maneuver and airspeed and altitude. So that's that. I went to work for Eastman Kodak after Syracuse as a mathematician. Really, the earliness. So this is mid-50s, converting business problems to mathematics. But I left there and went to UCLA because they had a program in operations research. And that's just the early days of systems engineering and systems design. And they had the biggest computer in the world, IBM 709. That was a vacuum tube processor. No one in this room knows what a vacuum tube is. Magnetic course. Anyway, but I knock on the door there. I want to go to work here. And I said, who are you? I'm a graduate student. We don't have those in here. Yeah, but you don't understand. I'm a product of child labor. I drive tanks. I drive airplanes. I'll figure this place out. They're looking at me like I'm some kind of nutcase. Well, I pulled the ace out of them. I'll work for nothing. You're hired. Okay. Within a month, I'm on salary. So I was a fork-trained programmer, compiler, and assembler, and operator. But oh my goodness, from the computers, I got to understand how the brain works. So you got a computer and you get your brain, how you put the two together. And so how does one contribute to the other? And I says, you ought to leave it alone, Story. No, I understand the brain. So I got to do the brain. So I left this world here. It's called a fork in the road. You know, all right, it's after the brain. So I went to Columbia in New York City. Going to class the first day, I see on the door, Neurosurgical Research Lab. That's me. That's why I came here. You knock on the door. Hey, I'm ready to go to work. Who are you? A freshman medical student. We don't have those in here. We got fellows and we got... You don't understand. I drive tanks. I drive a product of child labor, and I'll figure it. Okay, I work for nothing. You're hired. So, now within a month, I'm on salary. I figured it out, and I figured it out fast. I'm publishing papers. So at this point, my goodness, at the age of 25, I got child labor, I got the Marines, I got the tanks, I got the airplanes, I got computers, and now they're making me a scientist. And I got the math. So you see at the age of 25 where I've gone. Just by knocking on the doors and keep going. Just keep going. So that's why I'm at 25. But it's not over yet. I'm 80, so I got a long way to go today. So Intel asked me about 7 years ago to come to them and show them what the future of the world was. I said, I can't do that. Intel, future of the world. I said, I'll fall flat on my face. I got nothing to contribute to Intel about the future of the world. So I don't think I'm going to do that. Intel says, Story Musgrave, get your butt out here. You're going to do so. Okay. So I painted the PowerPoint for them because I figure as an artist, it's difficult to critique an artist. So I'll paint my PowerPoint. So I did a bunch of paintings for them. But this is the world that all of you was living in, the world of increasing complexity. And so the world is evolving in complexity. Supernova events create the big molecules necessary for biology, but Mother Earth then, the integrated circuits here, and tighter connection between the nervous system and integrated circuits of plants. So you have an evolving birthing. So Mother Earth is becoming more and more complex every day. Now with a company called Magic Leap down in Beach, Florida, that happens to be what I'm doing today. Virtual reality systems, augmented reality, and all kinds of stuff. The merging of the whole digital and physical world. It turns out here in 2015, I'm doing that. So my goodness, that's the way life goes. I took up this during medical school just because I like to fly and I like to fall. And so, okay, where's this go? It's called Get It Right the First Time and Get It Right Every Time. You see how my life is going? I'm a public parachutist. I ask everyone to see how I'm doing it. It's called best practices. It's called industry standards. Yes, this is a funny little sport, except I took it dead serious. I'm going to do it right. And so Story Musgrave is being propelled forward on checklists, procedures, best practices, configuration control. That's what life's all about. It's what you all do. So I got no stories to tell you. So I'm going to finish at 9:15. I'm going to sit down whether or not I am done. I got no stories to tell you. Yeah, so it all came out right. I'm training to be a neurosurgeon and neurophysiologist. So I think I got a path. I think I know where I'm going in life. But oh my goodness, I read in Science magazine, and NASA going to fly scientists, astronauts. They're going to fly scientists in space. I said, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do it, but they're going to do that. Oh, dear me. So, golly, it's another fork in the road, right? I'm going to go be an astronaut these days. So it's another fork in the road. These things keep happening, but I keep pursuing them. So back in the postdoc fellowship, graduate school in physiology, the physiology was important because I use that today. I use the physiology today because the future of the digital world is not just projection out there, it's getting stuff into the sensory system directly, like directly onto the retina, which we're pursuing today. So the synergy between the fields is unbelievable. I joined NASA during the Apollo era. My boss in surgery, he adored me because I was so radically pragmatic about my approach to things. And so he moved and he went to Denver. Denver General, became head of surgery and trauma surgery up there. It's a story. If you'll give me 3 days a month, I will turn you into a trauma surgeon. That's all I need with you, 3 days a month. I says, God, let's do it. So for 26 years, I was a trauma surgeon up there during my astronaut career. It fit the NASA model better, remote and getting hurt out there. But also, I was able to bring the procedures and the discipline of aerospace into that part of medicine more easily than other medical fields. So, you see what we're doing here? Now, NASA, I'm a very experienced pilot at this point with airline transport rating and all, but I didn't have military wings, and I didn't have any jets. I got all these props. So NASA thinks I need to go to the Air Force to get jets and military wings. Well, give it to me, I'll do the Air Force. I'm a Marine, but that doesn't matter. You know, I'll have Air Force on this side, Marines on this side, it's just fine. I just love it, man. I'll do the Air Force. I love it. Give it to me, baby. I want to learn. Got the privilege of getting on the playing field and learning another discipline, learning another way of doing things. It's just wonderful. So here's my airplanes with the Air Force. Ended up in the Northrop T-38, this incredibly beautiful machine, supersonic, high performance, easy to fly. I came back to NASA in the same airplane. Now, so that's in NASA colors. So again, like I said, it's a playing field. You get back in the airplane, what you going to do with it? How good are you going to be? Are you going to be a professional? You're going to demonstrate to them, you know, just how good you can be. So whatever it is you choose to do in life, you just be the best you can. Now when I came back to NASA, they had half of these and they had half of those. So that's the T-33, Lockheed T-33. So what do you think? Astronauts going to fly that? They're going to fly this. The story Musgrave, we're going to fly this because it's going to go away. See, that's an older airplane. I know they're going to convert the squadron to all of that sleek airplane. But I want the airplane to teach me. See, that's what I'm after. I'm not after just flying the airplane. The airplane going to teach me. That airplane going to teach me stuff. It's going to teach me stuff the other airplane cannot. So I'm learning. You got to learn. So I carry the camera. Anytime I'm everywhere, I carry the camera. I don't know why. The airplane deserves it, and it's going to take me to beautiful places. I'll carry a camera. So I became the maintenance test pilot in the Northrop T-38, the first astronaut to have that job, because I love maintenance, because I learned an airplane on the hangar floor. I read the pilot's manual, but I learned the airplane on the hangar floor. And I'm the only person to ever be, the only astronaut to ever be a certified airplane mechanic. So a maintenance test pilot is one piece all over the floor. They put it back together and I fly it, see if it works. So I had that job. And 800 of these functional check flights, I never found one thing the mechanics did not do right. 800 functional check flights. So, but you see, why do I get this job? Enlisted Marine airplane mechanic. You see how life goes? You leverage. You look at the past. You connect the dots to your past. Where are you going with that stuff? And you'll think it's not going anywhere. This is where it's going. So Saturn was the right kind of thing. It was an absolute right machine for the job. And so we did Mercury, Gemini, Apollo in only 8 years. Candy says go, and doggone it, we went. Incredible spirit, incredible project management, ended up there. Now this fella is an incredible hero of mine. He read science fiction. You know, he was an incredible leader. He was a great project manager. He was a great engineer, a great communicator, and just super model. And I worked on the Skylab program. That's me, the Skylab program. That was our first space station. I was a backup crew member on the first Skylab. It's 1973. And there she is. Keep going. Onto the shuttle program, much more complex than we had anticipated, much more difficult, difficult to operate, fragile. If you get right down to it, it's a butterfly bolted on a bullet. That's what this program is. So it's hard to get that done right. That's probably, I use those words when I'm not employed any longer. So it didn't turn out the way, but I think it really helped us. So now onto the telescope. I did fly 6 missions in the space program. Challenger's first flight, as Doyle told you, did the first shuttle spacewalk because I helped develop the suits. For 12 years, I developed the suits because a physician physiologist, I knew the ergonomics, I knew the backpack that looks after your physiology. I did an astronomy mission as a pilot, not as the scientist. A couple of Department of Defense. I was a lead mechanic to fix Hubble, and the final one was electronic chip manufacturing. But to focus on this then, in 1975, way back then, they told me, Story, we're going to put a big telescope in space and you look after the machine. You identify every possible failure that can happen and you come up with spacewalking tools and procedures to fix it. So it was the first big machine that they decided ahead of time, if we have to, we will look after it with spacewalks. So I started out on a machine. I've been on Hubble for 40 years. 75 to 2015, I've been on that thing. We celebrated the 25th anniversary last week, April 24th. It's been out there for 25 years. But in 1975, I was given action to look after the Hubble, identify every possible imaginary thing that could go wrong. Here's what's going to go wrong. How are you going to fix it with a spacewalk out there, and what tools do you need? Now, I got to fix it looking like this. So this is different than my coveralls. It's not like my garage. I got to fix it looking like this. So hugely bulky, not got the same body I got. I got a wonderful shoulder joint, but it does not. And so, of course, it's got mass. It's 480 pounds, me in the suit. Well, I say out there it doesn't weigh. It doesn't weigh, but it's got mass. If I'm going to be a nimble little squirrel and get moving somewhere, I got 480 pounds to get it going. And I pay a bit of attention. I got to pay attention to when I'm going to get stopped. You know, you got to get stopped. You get moving, you got to get stopped. You keep going. So here's what I'm doing. In these conditions here, that's the way I got to look after the Hubble Space Telescope. Now, how would you like to change out a motherboard looking like this? It's not nice, but I did. I'm changing out memory chips in a computer looking like this. So you see the procedures I have to develop. It's got to be friendly looking like this. So that's the kind of imagination I had to use to develop those procedures. So this is an artist concept of what it might look like. At first, I have no drawings even. I don't have a contractor. These are computer-generated graphics. Now, I'm trying to get physical. You all know what prototyping is. You come up with some model, and you run it. You see, does it work? So I'm going to build me a balloon telescope. So that's a balloon. So you'll blow up the balloon. Now I'm starting to get physical. I got stupid styrofoam blocks. Those are my instruments. But I'm trying to get physical to check out my procedures. Way early on before I have hardware or drawings. Now that is robotic arm in a shuttle. It's a high fidelity arm, but it's not certified for humans. So I came up with a balloon story. So I got a balloon story that's operating on a balloon telescope. It's getting physical. Then I got underwater as soon as I could. As soon as we can get water. Now, the important thing about water is it's action and reaction. That's the one thing the water gives you. If I put 20 pounds of force on some object, that force comes back to me, you see. And so it's action on something. A wrench is something else, but it torques my body with the same force. And to make the problem simple, I got a big power tool. If I put a power tool on something, I pull a trigger, and I've not done something about me, it is me that spins on the end of the wrench. So that's how it goes. There's the Hubble down at KSC, and that's the deployment. So this is 25 years ago last week, so it's April 24th. And I want to celebrate that at National Air and Space Museum and the Hubble Space Telescope Science Institute, and we revisited all the things that happened. Now, within months of deployment, we had to arrive. We could not focus the telescope, and we did all the studies, and we arrived at the conclusion we had put the wrong mirror in the telescope. It was the most perfect mirror, but it was the wrong one. So last week we celebrated those of us that were together trying to figure out the problem and what it took to arrive at that conclusion as to where the problem was and then what we're going to do about it. So I met with them. I met with the people that got to converge on what the problem is. It was just hard to admit we got the wrong mirror. No one wanted to admit that, but there's a few people that forced it, said it's the only answer to why we can't get it in focus. And then what we're going to do about it? So I met with them last week, a celebration, a 25-year celebration. The other people I met with is the Nobel Prize winners. Several of them that won the Nobel Prize from the science they got from Hubble. So it started out as a horrible failure, but that's where we ended up. Now, along the way, you know, story fix, anything that might go wrong, I did not have a line item that says wrong mirror and telescope. I wasn't cynical enough yet. I should have been. You got to cover every base, right? So I got a mission now, fix 13 different things. I got 13 things that are broke. Now, as you well know, it's a business you're in. If you buy a new car and you're driving home and it breaks before you get home, it's not because it wore out. It's called a lemon. It's bad design or bad quality. Either it was not designed to get the job done or the quality. You know, the specification didn't meet the quality. So it's that kind of thing. So that's what we had. We had very early failures. Yeah. So I got 13 different things that are broken here. Now, whatever you do in life, that's the kind of face. It's focus and concentration. Those are professionals. When you got this mission spirit, you know, the Marine Corps spirit, when it's Apollo 13, you want to get home, that coalesces everyone. It forms up the lines of communication. Spirit is the number one thing on how you go forward and how you get your job done. It's spirit. So fix Hubble. These are professionals, and that spirit holds them together. All after that, we're all on the same page. Like I said, I do use water, so that's me and water now with the Hubble Space Telescope. And again, the reason for water is action and reaction, so that I will restrain myself enough to get the job done. But the other thing is, the lesson here is, the divers, before I go in the water, I'll circle the divers around and say, anyone that sees a better way for me to do my work, show me. Maybe some diver has been on a job for 2 weeks, I've been in lead spacewalk for 25 years, I want their opinion. I want the best solution. All the time. You empower people around you to talk, to get up and say, I think there's a better way. So I did the same thing. Whatever you do in life, it's the same principle, you see. You ask people around, are you comfortable with what we're doing? Comfort is a non-legal word. It's a non-analytical word. Are you comfortable with what we're doing? Because comfort, you know, it can speak from the intuition. I got a surgical room nurse. She's been in the job for 30 years. She's seen what I'm doing in the hands of 100 other surgeons. You do know most of the time, the surgical nurse knows more about what's going on than the surgeon. That's fine. But you, the surgeon, got to understand the asset you got there. Ma'am, yes, Story, how are we doing? You're doing fine. Keep going. I love it. Or, doggone it, Story, I wish I could point you. I don't know, but I don't like this. I just don't feel good. Oh, okay. I'm going to find out what she doesn't like. So that's a lesson in life, and it applies across the board. We're not talking surgery, we're not talking space flight, we're talking your business too. So she will help you if you give her a chance, if you will listen. I took my stuff to Smithsonian Museum, National Aerospace, because now the Hubble's up there, that is the only vehicle on Earth that's guaranteed to have the same dimensions, the same neutrality, the same measurements. So I took whatever I could to the Smithsonian. I'm going to put the instrument on a telescope in space. But see, I'm interested in fit and function. Do these things fit together the way they should? And so this is the only one on Earth. I'm worried about all my mock-ups not having the same measurements. So tomorrow, I'm going to go in vacuum chamber and test all my stuff, the amount of stuff I can bring into this massive vacuum chamber, 12 stories high, big vacuum chamber at flight temperatures. So in a vacuum, and as you well know, this is the world you work. So it's vacuum and it's flight temperatures. Now what's temperature in space? Temperature in space is a spacewalker, to make problems simple, wants Mother Earth. So when I'm out there working, I want Earth to be here, because on average, Earth is 59 Fahrenheit. So you go around Earth at 59 degrees Fahrenheit. But even from 400 miles up, my suit's going to be 59. There's no air. There's no air to move heat around. And you're all into heat and that kind of stuff. But you give me Mother Earth at 59, I am in radiative exchange with Mother Earth, I'll be 59 Fahrenheit. And that's a great temperature for a spacewalker. The blackness of space is 3 degrees Kelvin. And it's minus 480 Fahrenheit. If I got the shuttle here, I got Earth back there, and you give me the blackness of space here, I'm out of the game in 10 minutes. It's massively cold. So the pointer that's going to point things around during the spacewalk, that pointer has got to satisfy a lot of requirements. Like Hubble says, no sunlight in any open door. And at times I had 3 open doors to get my job done inside the telescope. But so that constrains your ability to point. They're trying to point the antennas and all the rest of the stuff. So they got so many constraints. The person running the pointing and the person got the fuel, it's hogging fuel. He's hogging fuel. He's hogging fuel to get us home. Well, I want to get home too. But you know, we got to do something else. I need a little bit of that fuel to stay warm. Well, nobody give me that. They made me run at minus 170 Fahrenheit. I said, no, that's not going to work. Can't do that. Store, we got no choice. Yes, we do have a choice. Go get after it. Get it. Steal some fuel from that guy. Add more fuel. Do something. That's not going to work. Nah, so got no choice, Story. Well, we do have a choice. Okay. So they made me run at minus 170 Fahrenheit. My hands stung so bad. They stung so bad I had to take breaks along the way. But my hands got comfortable 8 hours into this test. Story. They didn't warm up the chamber. Hey, man, your hands got comfortable? Hey, man, put your thinking cap on. They got comfortable because they're dead. So here you got the lead spacewalker, that's me, 6 months before flight, got 8 dead fingers. So you can see the dead and the living. It's very clear. As soon as I pull my hands out, they're already black. As soon as I came at 13 hours, they're already black. They sent me to Alaska the next day, a world's frostbite expert. He gets a strange note. He's a strange to start with. We're sending you someone from Houston, Texas. That's in June with frostbite. That's hard to do. But then he got into, well, he's optimistic about how much we're going to lose. But, you know, I got to keep going. I got to develop the mission. I'm not just training. Development continues. Development continues. That's the dance, the choreography of the tools in the body to get the job done. I came back from Alaska, got back in a suit. The story Musgrave, you kind of get in a suit with hands that look like that. I have no choice. You're going to lose too much flesh. If the fingers get shorter, I will shorten the gloves. Okay? Don't forget, I'm a product of child labor, teenage Marine. We're going forward, right? That's who we are. I've been there before. So, but as you well know, that's called test. We found a problem out. We got some extra fuel. We heated the gloves, put heaters in the gloves. I went to fly this mission toasty warm. Just beautiful. So that's called test. We figured the problem out ahead of time, and we fixed the problem. So here we are, arriving at Kennedy Space Center. I'm going to make it, 9:15. So a wonderful bird's eye view of 2 launch pads, A and B. Procedures, just stacking that thing up. Before I forget this whole PowerPoint, I can give you this PowerPoint. I'm going to give you a link. Story Musgrave a Hotmail, send link. You can have the whole PowerPoint. Every slide that you see in the pictures here. I remind you of the beauty of that one. So sunset behind you. And that's Troy. He and I went on a journey for 30 years. 30 years. He's my suit tech. He looks after everything. He looks after my gloves, my suit, my helmet. He looks after me. He straps me in, all these various things. Vacuum chambers, Apollo shuttles, and all the rest of it. Now, so that's what you got. That's what you got. I love and adore this guy. Every time we came together, did something, we just kept doing it better. It's just what you do. You just keep doing it better. So I like this launch here because it's only nothing but nature, you see. It's human reach for the heavens or just nature. This amateur one, the fellow lives over here. He sent this to me on email. He said, how you like this one? Love it, I'll use it. So it's a gorgeous launch picture. We're in space. I saw Hubble, I think, from about 6,000 miles away. I spotted that thing. So it's on the other side of the Earth, but I'm seeing it right through the air. So here's the atmosphere. I'm seeing it through the air. 6,000 miles chased after I finally got it. After 18 years now, I've been working on this thing. When I get to go to work on it. And so there you go. I'm getting to go to work on that thing. And I trained with Dorothy Hamill, an Olympic figure skating champion. What's this figure skating spacewalk gal? Dorothy, she knows what she's good at. She knows what she's not good at. She knows where her passion lies. And she plays like this funnel of more and more configuration control and right down to the final solution. She plays with stuff until I got where I'm going. When the music starts, I'll do that. You repetitively practice until it's there. Spacewalk, my body going to do the job. So it's a choreography, it's figure skating, it's ballet of my body and my tools. you know, 40 hours of spacewalking out there. That's what it is. So I brought the perfection of athleticism there. That's where she is. And I was going to hug this horse. Secretary of Claiborne Farms, Paris, Kentucky, just to get the horse all over me before I leave. It's for you that I live. It's for you that I go forward, see. This is not horse racing. It's not spaceflight. It's you. It's not what you do, but you say, I'm going to do that. You look in the mirror and you say, that's me, and whatever I do in life, that's how good I'm going to be. So it's one opportunity after another. It's one playing field after another, and you say. So that's what I bring out there. So after 18 years, I'm out there working over Southern Australia, but here's the real thing. I was a capsule communicator mission control for 25 missions. I know these folks. I love and adore these folks. I want them there with me, and I want their help. I want their guidance. It is not leave me alone, I'm doing my thing. I'm not doing my thing, I'm doing their thing. Story, they say, is a great spacewalker. He got one big problem. He mumbles all the time. I do mumble all the time, but you know what I'm mumbling about? How it's going now and where I go next. I'm talking to myself about this little story that I'm doing. But Mission Control is listening, and they're with me. If they can't see me because they're looking at my back and they don't know where I am in the procedure, they don't know what I'm doing, they can't be with me. So when I'm mumbling, I'm keeping my buddies with me so they will help me. So they'll be there. And when I call a torque setting off on a wrench, sorry, no sir, it's not 12, it should be 20. Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with me. Okay, the next thing I want to do is this. No story, we think you should be doing this. Thank you, sir. I want them with me, and that's a lot. Get people helping you. That's why I was able to correct for the wrong mirror in the telescope, put a big box in there with a whole bunch of little mirrors. So there's a American engineer taking a shower in Munich, Germany. Well, in the U.S., the shower heads, you change the stream or you point the stream. But in Europe, a lot of the showers, they articulate. So you can change the position of the shower head. Well, this guy's not used to that. He's not used to changing the position of the shower head. Bang, boom, that's the way I'm going to fix Hubble. From a shower in Munich, Germany. Because the shower is articulating. So he came up with the ideas of all these little mirrors that would deploy. That one catches the light, corrects the aberration, sends it to that mirror, which reflects down to another instrument. By putting in the one optical bench, I was able to fix that light for 5 other instruments. See, that's the way life works. The solution comes not just because you're hard at your desk working on it. It comes, you've got to be ready for the solution to come at any time. So that's we're able to do that. And some of these instruments had built-in fixes to them. It was a perfect mirror, but it was, you know, you have to put, from that point on, from when we launched it back there in 1990 on, every single thing we do, the same mirror stays in the telescope we had to correct. So this is a big instrument, 800 pounds, brings you beautiful pictures. It's got internal correction to it. The solar rays are horrible things. I was supposed to roll this up like a blanket and bring it home, but you see it's broke. That's called fatigue. The solar panels go into the sunlight and they expand with the heat, and they shake. They shake terrible. They shake so bad the Hubble can't point. And then they go in the night. The solar panels go on the night side, and they shake so bad as they cool off and contract, the Hubble can't point then either. So with every hour and a half rev around the Earth, we lost 30 minutes of pointing because the solar panels are shaking. A solar panel, you know, that converts sun to electrical power. You all know about that. So what's wrong with the solar panels? They didn't test them in the sun. You have to test things in the environment in which they need to operate. It's a little oversight not to test solar panels in the sun. But that was that problem. The new solar panels wouldn't come. Okay, this is your ratchet wrench, folks. This is the ratchet wrench. The new solar panels, whoops, wouldn't come down either. Okay, I know how to get that down. Every single mechanism I designed to have a manual backup. There's logic, a micro switch, some kind of failure. The new solar panel wouldn't come down either. I put my ratchet wrench. Well, ratcheting up in space is really fun. I put the ratchet wrench on, and I start moving it, and the solar panel starts coming down. But then I lay off the ratchet wrench, and the solar panel's still coming down. So in 0G, there's no friction. So I just sit there and watch. Well, I don't have to crank. So, well, but you know what's going to happen? And I got ready, get on the other end because it's still coming. I got to cushion it when it gets to the stop, right? That's farm kid working out there. So I went to close these doors. So that door is 4 inches higher than that door. So the latch couldn't latch. I swung these doors closed, 10-foot doors, that latch up there and this latch down there. There's a whole bunch of scratches off the bottom of the screen. All these galls on the doors. But I got back in the ground. So what's with the doors, folks? Sorry, we couldn't close them on the ground either. So, okay. But I didn't have a chance to practice with the real doors in my simulations, in my mock-ups. Didn't have a chance. But you all know what a come-along is. There is not a single person in this room doesn't know what a come-along is. That's back on a farm, right in the straps, and you tie stuff down to the truck. I had 2 come-alongs. It was an uphill battle for a farm kid to get come-alongs on a spacecraft, but I had 2 of them. And that was to close the shuttle doors. So I checked with flight director, hey man, I will take care of this one. So Jeff up top, me in the bottom, I had it so when I held the doors in alignment, my fingers would be on the handle. So it held like this, that took care of that. So it's called come-alongs on Hubble Space Telescope. So that's 20 years ago. Beautiful. I'm moving right along. So this is 22 years ago. Hubble was totally restored. But I'm thankful. I'm just thankful that it all worked out. I'm missing my baby. It's empty. And so talking to President Clinton about all this stuff, it's melancholy and sadness. I don't come for the victory. I never come for the victory. Folks, I come for the journey. I'm on the journey. I got a lot of defeats. I got some victories. I got triumphs, I'm here for the journey. I'm here for what's next. You keep going. I don't celebrate victories. I'm thankful that I was allowed to get the job done. Melancholy, sadness. I got a smile on my face because I'm supposed to be smiling, but I feel a sadness at this point here. So we're going to come home. I'll give you a quick look at some beautiful Mother Earth. I could spend hours on this, but here's Italy, and at nighttime, the heel and the toe of Sicily, and Barcelona and the Greek islands over here. And this is what the aurora really looks like out there. Yes, sir. It's almost like you're flying through it. And if you want, you can also say storymusgrave@hotmail.com, send Earth as art program. So you can say, send this program, thermal resources program, but you can also send Earth program, and I'll send you a PowerPoint of these kind of things. Now, so here we come home, incredible flying machine into Florida, home sweet home. You think about the people like yourselves, the best in the business. Took me on that journey, took me home safe. How's Hubble doing? That's before I fixed it, and that's after I fixed it. So it all worked. Now, before I fixed it, it looked like that. That's a star. It should be a point source. It should be a bright point source. Instead, it was spread out like this, and that's the wrong curvature. So that should be a bright. It should be like a star, but you're looking at the wrong curvature, and that's what the star looked like afterward. So, like I say, we celebrated the 25th anniversary of the deployment of Hubble. It only had a 15-year lifetime, but it's still up there. It's still trucking. They're still doing just gorgeous kind of stuff. The most powerful instrument, they said, that's ever been out there. So we all got together. Those of us that worked on what was wrong, what we got to do about it, and the Nobel Prize winners from the data that we got. So the T-38, after photographing it for decades, I decided I'd do a book on this beautiful machine. It deserved it. It's 55 years old. I had the mechanics put my airplanes here because I got a launch, see. People say you're cheating. Story, I'm cheating. I cheat all the time. And that's what life's all about. So you put this shuttle there, and look at this, the background. But look at the plume. Watch the plume. The plume turned into this. The sun's cooperating. I got T-38s leaving, and I got that kind of launch plume. The lesson there is get ready and get on the playing field. See, that's the lesson. I was there, and I had the camera. I was ready for this to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen. So the lesson there is get ready when stuff happens. Most powerful rainbow I ever saw on my face, Ellington Field. I parked my Beauty at Sunday. That's why no one there. But I was there, and I had the camera, so that's it right there. So I ended up doing this book after shooting it for about 45 years. Not today with lots of things, but I run a palm farm. I've raised 10,000 palm trees. That's one tree. That's my nursery, you see, right there. What is this palm tree stuff? Who is it? Story Musgrave? Palm trees? I'm a farm kid. farm kid, never forgot it. Okay, the lesson I got for her is play to your strengths. Play to your experiences. Don't you ever worry about the weaknesses you got. They don't matter. What am I good at? And that's how I go forward. And also, when you meet resistance, hey, I'm not this determination stubborn, I'm going to get there. No, I don't. When a door opens for me and I go in to meet the world's challenges and I meet a whole bunch of resistances, I walk out of that door and take the next one. So play to your strengths. When you run into resistance, hey, there's 100 other opportunities. Life's short. Don't beat your head against that wall. Keep going. So I create home sites from 5-acre parcels of land in Florida. So that's one home site. I grow grass. I don't need seed and I don't need fertilizer. I don't need none of that. I hay over here, my manure spreader, spread the seeds, and I create my own topsoil and bio-waste. I turn around 20,000 cubic yards of bio-waste by myself. John Deere spreader, I go there. So that's my own house. I built it. You say, my God, it's a lot of money. It's not. That's $180K. That's $180K because I built it myself. Every single palm tree I grew from seed, and my cat excavator, I dug the thing. I put myself on water. So that's what we do here. Now I have a 1944 Farmall 2-day, eBay $2,000. And so I'm driving the same machine I drove over 70 years ago. It kind of brings you back, you know. So I hadn't run for 5 years, washed the fuel out, new fuel, hit the start, it started. It's been running ever since. $2,000, got a fully operational tractor. Now that's little story. So I'm big story Musgrave, that's little story. She's been riding this stuff since the age of 2 weeks. And so I'm raising her right. She's going to be ready for TRS. Remember, she's going to be all ready for you folks when she gets there. And so I got to cradle her 2 weeks. But the lesson here is, kid comes in the world and have no experiences, what you're going to give them. How do you get them? So it's like you all, what's your skill set today and how you're going to take your expertise into the future tomorrow, the next frontier for yourself. But I look at her and I say, what experiences do I want to give her? She's starting out as an empty slate. So at 2 weeks, I got to cradle her. But when she got to be 2 months, I took her car seat out of the car and I would strap it to the hood of all my equipment. Now, she used to ride up here. She ride up there. I strap her in tight. I got a mirror to watch her. And she's learning the TRS geometry, right? She's learning engineering. She's learning all that stuff. That's a military jump truck, 1968, 6-wheel drive. Man, never work on that. I do my own maintenance on my cat excavator. It's got 82,000 hours on attack. 82,000 hours. And I do the maintenance on it myself. So how come no pictures of the little story? Mom says what you're doing is not normal. And I cannot stop you from doing it, but it does not have to be on the internet. That's where we draw the line. It's not normal. So that's why I don't have pictures. But that's who she is today. She's checked on 3 tractors. That tractor got 9 gears ahead, 3 in reverse. So that's my little. So she's been raised mechanical. She's massively digital too, but that's what the world. I'm giving her the opportunity. She's more precocious than me. She got checked out on this stuff. But life is not all work. You know, life is not all work for her. She does have some fun too. So people complain about no shoes. I can't keep shoes on this lady. You can't keep shoes on her. But also, I want to do a little bit of supervision now and then. When I'm not there, the dog does the supervision. So the dog always looking after her shoulder. If Story comes back without the dog, I say, Story, were you driving okay? Because the dog, either the dog got tossed off the machine or the dog says, I don't want to be here today, and the dog get off. So that's that. Yeah, so there's 0G trampoline Story. She's going in this obstacle course. I say, Story, this looks mean, man. I don't like the looks of this thing. You sure? Yeah, I can do it, Dad. Well, I don't know. And, well, she finished, but oh, dear me. It was as bad as I thought it was. So she's an artist, too. You know, you just look, and that's in the living room. So you don't put the artist back there. You put it in the living room, so she's at it all the time. Again, this is for y'all. This is who are you. So what experiences do you want to give this kid to grow her up, to be balanced and that kind of stuff? She is a dirt girl all the way through. You can't keep her out of the dirt. So what's it like to have me for dad? I guess this is it. She is mudding the muck and the fish are nibbling on her there. She loves the slime and she loves the worms. She pets the wild native. That's her dragon. So she got a dragon. She's very attentive to the dragon. And she's teaching the dragon the circle of life. The dragon got good attention to detail there. So, and that's the dragon. We dressed it up for Halloween. So, life is fun, right? And so, but the lesson here is, when little story, and it's her turn to look after Mother Earth, it'll come from the heart. It's not academic exercise. It's not a political exercise. She knows Mother Earth, and she's going to love it, and she's going to take care of it. So that's the lesson. You go forward in life. Now, she's a hot air balloon pilot. We go hot air ballooning and that kind of stuff. There she conducting the symphony. We launch out of our place. And so my little story, I'm trying to go fly in Virgin Galactic. I take her into space. I don't know if the world will allow a 10 or 11-year-old to go into space, but we're trying. So we are trying. I'm trying to go fly with my little girl now into space. And so this is you, folks. This is not a little story. This is you. But you're already there, because I met a lot of you yesterday and today. You got that spirit. You got to be upbeat. You got to be light. You got to be outgoing. You got to be positive. That's it, folks. You're already there, because I met a whole bunch of you. It's just wonderful, the kind of spirit. That's who you are. And that's how you get to the new frontiers. Bryce Canyon there. But we climbed out of Bryce Canyon, and the Dawson is 8,000 feet. I said, my God, I did this to my little girl. She had to climb out of that canyon at 8,000 feet. I would have thought about that ahead of time. But yeah, she's looking pretty good, but dead. So, okay, and Mike, you can start that music, please. You're going to play some music from Cosmos and send us on the way here. And I'm going to finish up on time, early. So this is the music from Cosmos. The artist evangelist is who we are. So the privilege of Walter Cronkite at the launch pad and at the beach is a story. What do you say about this thing? What do you say about this adventure? You know, this journey that you've been on. What can you say? It's three things. The incredible opportunities, the doors that open for me, like what's going to happen to you, like it's your tomorrow, the next frontier for you. The opportunities that I had and the meaningful challenges. That's what you're after. You have to challenge to meet the world's expectations. Secondly, it's a sense of humility. I was allowed to get the job done. I could have been stopped. I could have gotten out there with a telescope and run into some technical problem overlooked, and I could have been stopped cold. For the most part in life, I've been allowed. Destiny and the fates has allowed me to get where I got to get. That's what it's about. And thirdly, it is not over. It is not over. It's tomorrow. It's the quest for the next playing field, the next opportunity, and to be the best that I can every second of the day. So who are we on this journey? That's a backlit picture of Saturn. It's a gorgeous thing, but they're trying to take a picture of the planet, and they got Mother Earth. That is us. That's the journey we're on. And the Voyager satellites have left the solar system. They've been out there for 35 years. We run around to look over its shoulder at us. That is Mother Earth from 3.7 billion miles. That's the dust plane that formed our solar system, the planets, and you and I. So the quest continues. Space flight is a quest for the universe. What is the meaning of the hope of the life that humans got down here? The quest for being the best you can every second of the day. The quest for the opportunities that rise tomorrow. With your feet solidly on Mother Earth, your head and heart in the heavens, I wish you well on your journey. Calm seas, favorable winds, and remember, you go simply because the opportunities are in front of you. Thank you so much for being a fabulous audience. Thank you. Thank you.